have a low stress writing idea for you today that is perfect if you happen to be in quarantine. So if you don't know me, I'm Lori Tom, and I help people fall in love with writing. And I offer courses and online courses, face-to-face courses, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and this show. Kind of the cornerstone of my program is fast and easy writing with positive response. And my goal is to help you get over the fear of writing and fall in love with the process, because writing makes your life better, because it helps you find meaning. And today, especially, I'm going to talk about something called a creative pit stop. So a pit stop, I thought I knew the definition of it, but a pit stop, as you know, in racing, is a brief stop for fuel repairs in a car race. And if basically we're using it as reference to just something in our life, it's basically making a very brief stop or pause to meet our needs. So like if you're on a road trip, it might mean to go to the bathroom or get some food. And if you're in quarantine, it might mean just taking a little break, a little tap out from what's happening or not happening in your days. And we probably all do that in different ways. So I've got a little list here of ways you guys can do that. So it might be stitching, baking, weeding, organizing, doodling. For me, it's definitely writing. I find that if I don't have like some little creation moment in the day, there's less energy and less lightness. And I just want to feel that right now. And I want to give you some opportunities for that as well. So I would love to know, what are your creative pit stops in the day? And notice on this list, I've got weeding. I know my husband, it's very zen for him to weed. And I know he's thinking during that time or not thinking, but that white space allows for some creativity to happen. So I think those routine and maybe even mundane tasks can contribute to our ability to take a creative pit stop. So my friend Suzanne replied to my newsletter that I send out every Monday right now. And she is this fiber artist or quilter. I don't know the right terms. All I do know is that what she makes with her hands and fabric and thread is stunning. And she wrote back in response to my newsletter, "I love your idea of recording a bit of our history, especially right now. I'm doing it with cloth, like I did with the Thomas Fire." So my friend Suzanne lives in Ventura, and she was in one of the neighborhoods that was ravaged by the Thomas Fire, I think a little over a year ago. And homes around her burned down. Her home did not. But she made a quilt about that moment in time. And it is stunning, really, really stunning. And I think we can apply that to all times in our life. So I have another friend, Susan, on here right now. And she said, baking and paint by numbers are saving me. One of the things I love about the paint by numbers example is that's not a kind of art that it's coming completely out of Susan's brain. She's doing something very creative, but she's not originating. Like all that creation doesn't have to come through her, but it puts her in the creative process. And I want to say in the past, I've kind of poo-pooed that kind of thing. But right now, that's in my bandwidth zone. And the idea I'm coming to you with today is not one I made up. It's really a write by numbers kind of thing. The other thing I know about Susan is she's a gourmet cook. And so baking for me is not intuitive. It's not something I'm super practiced in, but I know Susan is a great practical chef almost. And so baking might be in that similar bandwidth for her as well. So anyway, I just really want to know, you guys, if you're on the replay, put replay. What is your creative pit stop in every day? So ideally, in this moment, in this kind of paint by numbers, write something that someone has kind of given you a prompt for. I think a creative pit stop, if it's going to be sustainable and repeatable, which I really think it should be, like it's up there with eating well every day, sitting in the sun, getting that vitamin D. I think it needs to be quick. I think it needs to have low brain strain. I think it needs to feel good, like while you're doing it. It's not a chore. It's something that feels good to you. I think it needs to be finishable, maybe not in one sitting, but pretty darn close to it. I think it would be nice if there's some meaningful element to it. And the idea that I'm going to give you today will definitely have a lot of meaning. And I also think it's possible that it needs to feel like a little bit of white space, or it needs to be bookended by white space that gives you that place to have some ideas. And I want to say hi to Lisa. Yes, creative pit stop. I came up with that idea the other day and it just totally fit. Okay, so the idea, here it comes, is a quarantine week. It's basically documenting a week in the life of a quarantine. And again, this idea, I'm going to tell you what that is, show you what that is, give you some tips for it coming up right here. It's low stress. It's documenting a week in a pretty significant historical moment, that our kids and grandkids and, whomever may want to pay attention to. And so I think that's cool. All right. So my creative pit stop is a little book I'm doing called A Quarantine Week. Now, this is the book. I just mentioned it last week. And this is actually a cover I put over this book, which is A Week in the Life of Me. It is written by Amy Krouse Rosenthal. And you'll see that I have a little bit of writing on this already. I was originally going to use this as a travel journal. And it's filled, and I'll give you samples. It's filled with prompts. So this is kind of the paint by numbers, write by numbers. They're quick, and I will be able to do this without a lot of brain strain. I can go deep into it or whatever if I want to. So I just will show you a little bit of an example of how I did this. I started yesterday on the 14th, on day 1. So this is what the book looks like. Every section is color coordinated. So the first day is blue, the second day is red or whatever. So here is one of the pages. And this is basically if you look by colors, what do you see? So yellow, I have a set of Pentel marker sets. And I was doing this in our living room, which I've now got a desk out there. And so it was literally just what was in front of my face. Orange, I have a book called This Life Book that has a really cool graphic on it. The white in the center, I was remembering from yesterday, this really blue sky, but also these fluffy clouds. I did notice a typo on this page. Notice the green section there's a purple section, but the color is green. That's so weird. But the red one, I will say, is going to take me right into this moment in time because I've been wearing red clogs during the quarantine. My inside shoes are these red clogs and my red lipstick. And I happen to have finished my journal right when we started quarantine, and I have a red journal. So red is going to be a color that I associate with many things, but also the quarantine. So anyway, that's one of the pages. The other thing is, this is a page. So looking around the room, I can't really see that very well, but I'm gonna look in my book. Looking in the room, I'll read to you if you can't see those super well. It says, here's what I see. Looking out the window, here's what I see. Looking at the week ahead, here's what I see. So one of the things that's really kind of interesting is what I see is we have our Wii set up, where you play tennis and ping pong and all that stuff. Okay, we haven't played Wii in about 10 years. And we've been having some fierce competitions, which I lose all the time. So that's something that's very moment in this time. The other observation is I am like super aesthetically minded. Like I like things in their place. And our house is really set up right now to be practical and usable for 3 people who are spending a lot of time here. And that's a real difference. And so that's something I wrote down about this. So anyway, that's just an example of that page. Looking ahead to today, I love this prompt right here, freezing a moment in time via my fridge. The reason I love this is our fridge looks really different right now. Our fridge is practically empty because we are needing to go to the grocery store and we've been trying not to. Usually our fridge is completely packed. And so that's a difference. But the little bullet things, and that's what I love in this book. You can order this book. I think it's on sale for like $5 right now through Amazon. I've looked in other places and it's kind of hard to get, but I will have suggestions for you at the end of this if you can't get this book or don't choose to. But I love, and there's like tiny spaces in here. So you can see, this is the fridge page. That's how big that actually is. It's pretty small, but the bullets are, my fridge right now is clean and organized, a mess, jam-packed, sadly bare, full of home-cooked leftovers, full of takeout cartons. So it is, the prompts are really fun and they can go deep or you can just be fun with them. The sleep one I found was really interesting. That's for today too. When I woke up this morning, alarm clock, phone alarm, this song, or slept till I woke up. Well, I've been sleeping till I wake up. I always would get up with an alarm clock. That's very, very quarantine. And then there's space to do some writing here. And then there's a thing, what's on my nightstand. All right. So that's just a sample of possibilities. There's always these little graphy things where you just kind of, put yourself on a dot. This one, I'll turn to the page. Today at a glance. Mark where you land on this grid. So that top one up here is full of surprises, what I expected, and then the horizontal is in a bad way, in a good way. So, and then the bottom is one thing I'd like to remember about this day. So that's just a sampling of what you can find in this book. Now, these are some prompts. These are from a couple from this book. You can take a screenshot if you're interested in this. There are a couple from this book. There are also ones that I've just done before in different journals that I added in. And also, you can go on Pinterest and just Google a week in the life. You will see tons of prompts, almost overwhelmingly so. You can also Google just, writing ideas for the day, an ordinary day. You'll find tons of things, but these are just some suggestions. Colors of the day or other senses. This is one that I've done a lot, and the colors of the day, my friend Robin is on here. She super loves color. She's an artist, and I see that red is her favorite color, but you can do colors of the day and give them fun, like names, like paint chip names. That's a project we've done a lot. So for example, quarantine red. If I say quarantine red, I will think of my Red Claws. So it can be really personal to you. Spring blue jay blue, goldfinch at the feeder yellow. These are things I'm seeing, constantly in our yard right now. The other thing I would say, don't let any of this get overwhelming to you. If you just want to repeat one of these prompts every day, that makes this super doable too. In my fridge, last meal, people I'm with, looking back in 10 years, what will I think about this time? books I'm reading now, last time I laughed my head off or I cried. Emotions can be running a pretty big extreme right now. That might be interesting. My day, hour by hour, like what does literally hour by hour, just a timeline of a quarantine day look like? Currently obsessed with last 3 photos I posted online, last text, current to-do list. Now, this one, because our to-do lists are probably a little bit different right now, right? But one of the things with this current one, if you Google currently bullet journal, currently writing prompt, that's a really fun one. It's super easy to do. So it might be currently eating, currently reading, currently binge watching, currently thinking, currently wishing, currently regretting. You'll see all of those. Again, that's a super low stress, low bandwidth way to document this time. This week's best, worst, what I'm wearing, etc. So those are just some examples. Now, of course, I would say modify this to suit your needs. It doesn't have to be a week. It could be a day. It could be quarantine days and not exactly a week. One of the things I'm doing in my little book is, yes, ideally, I want to do this for 7 consecutive days this week. But in case I miss a day, I'm not really caring. I'm just hoping, I've got May 15th as a possible end date for quarantine in LA. Don't know, as everybody doesn't know, but if I get 7 days done by then, hey, that sounds awesome. Also, you can use any journal. You could just do 17 pages and write currently at the top and fill in something, or just be super casual with this. Again, you could just repeat one prompt. You can look at bullet journal prompts or Pinterest search for a day in the life or a week in the life, things like that. There are all sorts of projects. I was going to make a resource list for you, but every project I kind of Googled and looked at, they just looked overwhelming to me. And I love this kind of stuff. And so I just sensed that if it was overwhelming to me, I wasn't going to do it. And maybe you guys won't either. So I see a comment here that currently the book is $4.50. I've given this book as gifts, so pick up a couple. That's it. If anyone has questions, let me know. I will check this in the replay as well. But I just wanted to offer to you a pit stop idea. What I would really, really, really love for you to do is below, write down what some of your creative pit stops are. Whether it's a walk in the sun, sitting in the sun, it can be from one extreme to the next. Susan put up painting by numbers. I love doing Zentangles. I am looking personally for things that I don't have to generate 100%, just like that paint by numbers or a recipe or, whatever. So leave questions in the replay. I'll come check on this if you don't have any on the live. Thank you so much for watching. And my hope for you is that whoops, I was trying to add some text on here just so you can see some stuff there. My hope for you is that your quarantine will be memorable in a good way. Ups and downs, but hopefully we can find the good in it. The other thing I would love for you to do is subscribe to my weekly newsletter. I put it out on Mondays now. My scheduling is a little variable right now. The Spreading Writing Love Show is on Tuesdays, and I'll put a blog post out, which is really more like show notes for this Spreading Writing Love Show, where I'll have little notes and links and things. But you can find my blog website, LoriTomWrites.com, and just click on subscribe for that newsletter. Take care, you guys. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.